Ladies and gentlemen, today the men and women of the United States Air Force, in keeping with one of the oldest traditions in military service, pay special tribute to Senior Master Sergeant Anitra Mostacero on the occasion of her retirement from active duty with the United States Air Force. The presiding official for today's ceremony is Lieutenant Colonel Henry Triplett III, Air War College. Before we proceed any further with today's ceremony, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for attending and extend our warmest welcome to everyone here today. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and the invocation given by Chaplain Deborah Cooley.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
This prayer was written by Major Theodosia Hill in honor of Senior Master Sergeant Anitra Mostacero's retirement. Let us pray. Gracious and merciful Lord, thank you for this day to celebrate your daughter, Anitra Mostacero. You planted Senior Master Sergeant Mostacero 22 years ago in the Air Force. We thank you for allowing her to grow and blossom in this garden as a wise woman of God and a fearless servant leader. We even thank you for the weeds, those challenging assignments, and people that tried to shake her up. But you, loving God, protected and sustained her. We also thank you for the instrumental fertilizers in her life. You, God, of course, her biological family, her Air Force family, her friends and mentors. We thank you for allowing her to make sacrifices that greatly impacted the mission and the people, for giving her the courage to speak the truth, even in the face of adversity, speaking life and wisdom into situations involving young airmen. We thank you for even for the pruning you've done. We know without it, like a tree planted by still waters, it's necessary for growth. Thank you for giving her a heart that loves all of your children, regardless of demographics. Thank you for renewing her faith and hunger for righteousness. Fill her cup and restore back to her every blessing that is required for this new season in a new garden. She's been successful in the Air Force Garden. She's bloomed everywhere she was planted. Continue to guide her in the next garden, and she'll serve as a Christian counselor. Lord, thank you for blessing her with your love, health, peace, favor, and prosperity. Keep her in your will. In the matchless name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Thank you, Chaplain Cooley. Our presiding officer for today's ceremony, Lieutenant Colonel Henry Triplett III, is a graduated command pilot with more than 3,800 flying hours and 600 combat hours in the T-378B, T-1A, C-141B, and C-17A aircrafts. He is currently a student at the Air Force's War College and beforehand assigned as the Special Assistant to the Deputy Commander of United States European Command. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Colonel Select Triplett III.
Thank you. I'd like to quickly just recognize all the DVs in attendance today. Thank you for coming out here. A lot of chiefs I see in the audience, a lot of first sergeants, and a few colonels, I think, as well. So thank you for your attendance. I know Mo would really appreciate you being here. And then also to, I guess since we're videotaping this for posterity's sake, we'd like to thank all the family and friends that get to watch this at every reunion, I guess from here on out. So thank you for your attendance. Mo, thank you for inviting me out here to preside over the ceremony. It means a lot. We take it for granted that military retirement is a normal thing, especially those in attendance right now. It's far from it. Out of 320 million Americans, citizens, only 9% have actually ever put on a uniform and served. They, like many of you in attendance, understand that our freedoms and many of our allies come at a cost. Out of these patriots, 0.05%, or roughly about 1 million of them, will ever serve to the point where you have achieved, and that's a retirement. It is a very, very small percentage of the United States that will actually do that. America has been blessed with a military that is unequal in its abilities, and it's easy to explain why. It's the professionalism of the enlisted troops that make it that way. It's the backbone of our Corps. This did not happen by mistake. It's through the hard work and effort of leaders. Senior Master Sergeant Mostacero has led and developed the enlisted and officers too, at every level in her career. Mo, as I had the chance to review your records, your 23 years of records at 8 PCSs and hitting every part of the globe, I knew that I would not be able to capture the stellar career that was in front of me, partly because you gave it to me 24 hours ago. But certain things did pop out on that. I'll hit on some of those right now. Words like ethics, maturity, goes the extra mile, volunteer, community service, and professional. Those are some of the words that really kind of kicked out there. Numbers like number 1, and then you give some huge denominator. I think the highest one I saw was 247. We're just top 1%. These numbers are deserving. Only 2% of 250,000 enlisted Air Force members will ever reach the rank of Senior Master Sergeant. It's a very, very significant rank, and it's very difficult to get. And only 1% have ever been awarded a master's degree, by the way, in the enlisted Corps. Congratulations on that, too. Your hard work and dedication is inspiring and noteworthy to the force as a whole. As a commander, it gave me a clear image of someone to emulate, not only because of the success in the Air Force, but to set up others for the next chapter in every person's life after that in the military. You had awards and accomplishments listed at every level: Airman, NCO, Senior NCO of the Year, Quarter, Distinguished Grads. And when I lucked into taking a guidon from you as a First Sergeant, you were the First Sergeant of the Year. The ones I actually saw you take more pride in, though, were when the troops won things like Levito, Distinguished Grad, that was what really kind of made you happy, it seemed like, more than what you got. I also saw some of the things in your records that made me laugh, by the way. Expert in Windows 3.1 and Windows 95. And then you even had DOS in there, by the way. I'm glad you're not pursuing that avenue of success with Google. Again, since it took you a little while to give you those EPRs, I don't know if you didn't know how to say that. The one number that did stand out to me, though, in your record was 63,010. And as a first sergeant in charge of a geographically separated combat unit, this was the number of troops that your unit comprised of TDY, unaccompanied, and accompanied airmen. You moved out of Afghanistan to ensure that President Obama's drawdown was made a success. Just think about, for a small moment, how difficult it is to be a first sergeant dealing with a diverse team like that. It was the furthest geographically separated thing. You had unaccompanied in Turkey, and you had Manas Air Base as well as a combat deployment. You also had 18-year-old airmen that were coming through the doors, no stripes. And then you also had 60-year-old reservists in that mix as well. And to clarify, the 6-year-old was not me. Your team was the busiest military passenger air airport in the world that year. You provided the means and ensured the mission was a success, whether it was caring for family members all over the globe, which you had to do, or just handing out popsicles on the flight line when it hit 120 degrees. It was what mattered, and it provided the opportunity for your airmen to accomplish that mission. The number that's not in your record is the number 1. This is the number, though, that has played more a part of your career than any other. You have the uncanny ability to ensure every airman is cared for, singularly. You connect on the individual level, and typically you do this behind the scenes, one-on-one. People don't know you just did. Kind of an introvert that way, but yeah. I personally saw you do this day in and day out as a first sergeant. I also saw you lead and make decisions at the appropriate level. It made my job easy. This allowed others in your chain of command to focus on operational issues. Many times in life, people will say what they want followers. I've never wanted that. I've always felt that this can be taught, but not everyone has what it takes to lead, and you do. The first sergeant position is the one that you can lead, and it is also probably why you are finishing off as a shirt as well. I know that your future in counseling and divinity will be wonderful because of your abilities to care for the individuals. I also know that the one person you most wanted to be around was Alex. I hope he's ready for being there now. So he's going to get your entire focus, minus the small little dog, of course. Mo, congratulations, and thank you for your service. The world and the country is better for it, along with all the airmen that you cared for day in and day out.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Triplett. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as Colonel Triplett presents the Meritorious Service Medal to Sergeant Mostacero and performs the retirement ceremony. Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of the Meritorious Service Medal, 4th Oak Leaf Cluster, to Senior Master Sergeant Anitra Mostacero for meritorious service 6 February 2015 to 1 August 2017. Senior Master Mostacero distinguished herself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as 59th Medical Wing Staff, Joint Base San Antonio, Lackland, Texas. During this period, Sergeant Mostacero was responsible for pioneering the Air Force Medical Services' first high reliability and trusted care training platform and patient safety initiatives for over 7,000 personnel, providing oversight of 71 process improvements and saving $10.5 million. As superintendent of the Air Force's largest medical transition unit, she meticulously overhauled 26 processes and programs for over 200 wounded warriors, founding the Center of Excellence model in a noteworthy 3-month versus 12-month period. In addition, Sergeant Mostacero was General Officer selected to represent the medical wing as a combined federal campaign executive for 6 months, working directly for the San Antonio Regional Director, managing 19 federal employee workplace giving campaigns, ultimately raising $2.7 million in charitable donations. Her exemplary leadership, technical expertise, and commitment to duty resulted in being rated #1 of 9 executives by the San Antonio CFC Regional Director, appointed acting first sergeant for 2 squadrons, and garnering the 2015 Wing Staff Senior Non-Commissioned Officer of the Quarter, Second Quarter. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Sergeant Mostacero culminate a distinguished career in service to her country and reflect great credit upon herself and the United States Air Force. We will now proceed with the retirement portion of the ceremony by reading the formal retirement order.
Published order.
Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all who shall see these presents, greeting. This is to certify that Senior Master Sergeant Anitra W. Mostacero, having served faithfully and honorably for 22.9 years, is retired from the United States Air Force by Special Order Number AC 011974 by order of the Air Force Chief of Staff. Senior Master Sergeant Anitra W. Mostacero is hereby retired from active duty Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Senior Master Sergeant Mostacero will now receive the letter of appreciation. I just read it. And it reads, I extend to you my personal thanks and the sincere appreciation of a grateful nation for your contribution of honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of the nation during a critical time in its history, with a devotion to duty and a spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud traditions of military service. Your commitment and dedication have been an inspiration for those who will follow in your footsteps, and for all Americans who join me today in saluting you for a job extremely well done. My best wishes to you for happiness and success in the future. Signed, Barack Obama, Commander-in-Chief. Thank you, Colonel Trevor. We will now have Master Sergeant Walker and Master Sergeant Bowman present the Shadow Box.
These are my actual stripes off uniforms, by the way. I saved every single.
Good A1C ones, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
I saved every
Where's the Airman Basic stripe?
Overachiever.
Where's the box? The air coupe.
I owe you like $1,000.
Thank you, Master Sergeants Walker and Bowman. At this time, Airman First Class Kaylin Rivers and Master Sergeant Vanessa Arthur will perform a ceremonial flag folding. Narrated by Tundra Gatewood, Chief Master Sergeant retired. This flag was flown over the Pentagon on 9 June 2005 as requested by then and newly assigned Staff Sergeant Mostacero in preparation of her retirement.
For 22 years, this airman has stood the watch. While some of us were in our bunks at night, this airman stood the watch. While some of us were in school learning our trade, this airman stood the watch. Yes, even before some of us were born into this world, this airman stood the watch. In those years when the storm clouds of war were seen brewing on the horizon of history, this airman stood the watch. Many times, she would cast a glance and see her son standing there, needing her guidance and help, needing that hand to hold her in those hard times. But she still stood the watch. She stood the watch for 22 years. She stood the watch so that we, our families, and our fellow countrymen and women could sleep soundly in safety each and every night, knowing that an airman stood the watch. Today, I'm here to say, the watch stands relieved. Relieved by those you have led
Thank you, Airman First Class Rivers and Master Sergeant Arthur. Ladies and gentlemen, I now present to you Senior Master Sergeant Anitra Mostacero, United States Air Force, retired.
Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, and I thank you so much for taking the time out of your family, your personal, and your recharge time to bid me farewell as my journey into Chapter 2 begins. Those who know me know I'm a sensitive spirit. I may be strong, but I cry, and I cry a lot. I cry if I'm happy, and I cry if I'm sad. I'm a high gold and a very strong blue. So I wrote this speech so that I would not cry. It's very organized. I thank my mother first, Helen, for instilling in me a tough-as-nails work ethic. I've never been afraid of hard work because she's very strict, and there was hell to pay if the chores were not done, very particular. If they weren't done right, I was going to get it. But I can honestly say I owe every stripe on my arm to her for raising and loving me the best and only way that she knew how. To my grandmother Gladys, who I can never get enough of. She taught me how to cook, but mostly how to laugh. She used to laugh all the time. And as her oldest grandchild, I was right up under her. That's what we say in the country. Just right up under all the time. I can hear my Aunt Janet singing all the time because we called her Lally. What Lally talking about now? Lally, what are you talking about? And it was always something very funny, and I was right there laughing with her. In Proverbs 31:25, it says, "She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at days to come." So please bear with me as I take a short walk through my days to come, my Air Force story. If I forget anyone, please charge it to my head and not my heart. So Tinker was my first base, and the first person I met would change my life forever. That was Eric Mostacero. Those who know Eric know he is a phenomenal man, an incredible father, and with a heart of gold. We did marry young, but we remained great friends, raising our baby boy, Alex. And to this day, I will never forget Tech Sergeant Lynette DeVoe. She was the single most influential person, NCO, that created my foundation as an airman. She was my first supervisor. She would always say, "What does the reg say? Go look in the book, and what does the reg say? You come back and you tell me what the reg say." Julie, Patra, Brett, and I, we can laugh at it now, but it was ultimately what made us very resourceful, strong, and confident in our knowledge. She was well put together. Makeup, nails, hair, uniform, flawless. Excuse me. She made us tidy and clean the records department every Friday. And golly, think about all those lessons. She was so strict, but she cared for us as airmen. I remember being pregnant with Alex, and she held my baby shower at her house. That's a supervisor. Between her, Tech Sergeant Love, and Staff Sergeant Harris, I learned how to supervise, grow, and care for my troops, even if it's after 16:30. I don't know if the book is coming down. It's gross. I can't commit like that. At Kirtland, I was going through my radical phase. I was wild. I was partying all the time. I was slaying all the fellas. And I think, Carolyn Venable, I was divorced. But I think Carolyn Venable, Dee Bedford, Patricia Liddy, Jerry, Tanisha, LaDonna, and Mr. McGrew, as they all helped me go through my college growing phases. And I have to also thank Colonel Twilley, who was my commander, Major Labruto, who was my supervisor, and Major Martin, and also the first sergeant, Master Sergeant A.J. Brooks, for not letting my bad decisions kill my career. Master Sergeant Brooks is the reason I became a first sergeant. After all, I was a brand new staff sergeant with some of the most amazing first troops, and to this very day, the thought of them warms my heart. Airman, now Major Bob, and Cassie Key. I pray I was able to instill in them what Tech Sergeant DeVoe instilled within me. In Philippians 3, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit rather than humility. Value others above yourselves. At my 10-year mark, I had met my goal to have my MBA and tech sergeant because as a single parent, I wanted to have options for Alex. I decided to separate and even took a job that was making over $70,000. But I remember Major Labruto asking me, what would it take for me to stay in the Air Force? And I said, I want to go work at the Pentagon, knowing that wasn't going to happen. But boom, I had orders to the Pentagon and left 4 months later. All this time, God was placing me where He had already planned, and I was still none the wiser. The Pentagon was hard. It was hard work. Can y'all see the mocos? This is on video. It's horrible. Oh my gosh. At the Pentagon, it was hard work, but I had Major Franklin and Kathy Shepard keeping me grounded, even when I was working 2 jobs to keep Alex in private school. I'm also thankful for Colonel Jason Hall for seeing whatever he saw in me that prompted him to pull me from the Pentagon to be his exec. He set me up for greater executive positions and lined up for greater executive positions leading up to the group, line side wing levels, protocol, and CAG. And I loved every moment of it. I learned that executive work is my number 2 wheelhouse, and I will always be grateful for those opportunities. As I did the DC Shuffle, I met some of the most inspiring people that have become dear friends, advisors, and confidants. Mike Wilson, D. Kane, Maxine Rosinski, Colonel Dean Prentice, and Pam Catron. We had a group where we would act out movies. That's how we unwind. That's how we took breaks during the day. We would say, hey, mount up. And then we would meet in someone's office. And then it'd be someone's turn. And you gotta put the lotion on his skin and he gets the hose again. And you have to figure out, that's just an example, that's silent plan, right? So, we did things like that. That's how we unwind. It's awesome. I love it. We even have t-shirts made. And then I went to Air Staff, and where I met people like Senior Master Sergeant Prater, and God bless the dead, Senior Master Sergeant Devantis Santiago, who took me under their wings. I was a tech sergeant running AFMS level programs, and it was a blessing to learn from them. I had Colonel Busty to my left as my mentor, my workout partner, and my foodie soul sister. I mean, really, who runs on the treadmill while watching food shows and talking about how delicious everything is? We did. And I had my big brothers, Master Sergeant Jody Callender and Master Sergeant Marcus Tate to my right. Work wasn't work because I had a family, my Air Force family. While on Air Staff, I applied to be a first sergeant, and as soon as I made Master Sergeant, the process was you had to interview with the command chief, the shirt, and the commander. And guess who I had to interview with as the commander of our directorate? Colonel Twilley. The colonel who was there when I was going through my wild child phase. Needless to say, it went very well, and I got my diamond. The moral of the story is, always do good things and accept responsibility when you don't, because you never know whose path you may cross later. Fast forward 3 years of being a shirt, and when I made my decision not to serve another 3 years, I came to and come back to the 4-year career field. I thought about the MSCs I served under on air staff, such as I'm so sorry. I feel don't even see it. Such as Colonel Feltenberger. Okay. Such as Colonel Feltenberger, Colonel Harvey, because they were humble, hardworking, and caring supervisors. Although I am particularly fond of being a 4A for life, Chief Harvey got a tattoo on his ass. My fondest memories are being a first sergeant, which I believe is my #1 wheelhouse. I had the distinct honor and responsibility to uphold the Air Force standards while taking great care in the most important asset of all, the people. People first, mission always. But who takes care of the first sergeant? Nobody can really answer that, but I'll tell you who, the shirt mafia. Oh yeah, it exists. The shirt mafia is strong, and when it's strong, it's a force. I've been blessed to be a part of very tight-knit shirt mafias during my entire 3-year tour. I came across people like Senior Master Sergeant George Poppy, Senior Master Sergeant Quincy Harper, Senior Master Sergeant David Haynes from FSA, and my Diamond Divas, Senior Master Sergeant Patricia Chandler, Master Sergeant Gloria Lennon, Senior Master Sergeant Kat Fisher, and Master Sergeant Michelle Dunn. I can't forget about the fellas, we call them the studs, Master Sergeant Kevin Denny, Senior Master Sergeant Jim Ritchie, and Chief Jim Long. And Chief Rennie Munag. Senior Master Sergeant B-Rev, Brandon Rebels, and the Stiffs, the Senior Master Sergeants, Kevin and Tonetta Stiff. I will certainly never forget about the Billy Badass Chiefs who took me, my brand new self, brand new diamond, wide-eyed, under their wings, Chief Todd, Old Blue Eyes, Rock Old, and Chief James Glover, Chief Al Thompson, Chief Martin Smith. I secretly called him Old Smitty behind his back, but it was out of admiration. Those chiefs were previous first sergeants, and they made chief as first sergeants. That's admirable, old schools. So I soaked every bit of knowledge I could out of them. Everything that they would give me, I took it in. But the funny thing is, I find myself now passing on the same advice that they gave me. And when did that happen? I wonder, when did I become the old one pulling the young ones to the side? I don't know, I blinked and then I became old. I'll tell you what, some of the most sage advice was given to me by First Sergeant, Master Sergeant Dewey, and he said, Mo, always lead with the grace you've been given. And I remember that moment like it was yesterday because it was stunning. And it just hit me because I've been given tremendous grace during my career. Now it was time to show it. We all know commanders, chiefs, first sergeants, superintendents set the tone of the units. And I was immensely blessed to serve some of the Air Force finest commanders. Colonel Robert Walker, who was like a father to me. Colonel Kimberly Rhodes, steady and deliberate. Major Tabitha Clark, who spoke softly and definitely carried a big stick. And Colonel Triplett, who I'll talk about later. And last but not least, Colonel Mitzi Thomas Lawson, who is calculated, caring, and courageous. I believe God places people in your path for a reason, season, lifetime, through the good times and the hills and valleys. And I'm thankful for Chief David Brown, Chief Philip Eastman, Chief Tony Cruz, my sisters in Christ, Theodosia Hill, Major Cynthia Newberry, for helping me through the hills and valleys of my last days. It was difficult and I didn't think I would make it through, but I'm here and I survived. It reminds me of Ecclesiastes 4:10-12. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him who is alone when he falls and has not another to lift him up, no one. Again, if two lie together, they keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? And though a man might prevail against one who is alone, two will withstand him. A threefold cord is not quickly broken. I have the utmost respect, love for each of them during that tough time. To Colonel Ekstrand and Colonel Blanchard, you were both godsends to me as I came up from the valley of my last days, and for you, I am eternally grateful. I want to thank my AM2 warriors for being strong and showing me what true courage is in the face of diversity. Chief Sprague, Colonel Capice, Staff Sergeant King, Senior Master Sergeant Lumbee, and God bless the dead, Master Sergeant Edmonds. who had more fight and desire to serve than anyone I'd ever met while going through hard times. May God always keep them close. To all who will replace me, Master Sergeant Champagne, Tech Sergeant Benet, Staff Sergeant Wagner, and Senior Airman Soto, I see immeasurable talent in each of you, and I've watched you even when you didn't know I was watching. If I was hard on you, Benet, I told her I was going to choke the shit out of her one day. It was because I see promise in you, more than you could ever imagine. Stay hungry for knowledge, be courageous and grounded in truth. Sky's the limit, and I pray God moves mountains for you. Chief Plaza, thank you for being a sage advisor to me, and pretty much since you arrived at Wilford Hall, I've been stuck at your hip. When I think of a chief, I think of the passion you possess, and I thank you for setting high standards and an example for me. Thank you, Chief McCain, for also providing me sage advisement through the crazy makers, all the while checking on me, even if it's after 16:30. I really appreciate you. Senior Master Sergeant Diaz, my lunch. Thank you for making sure that we were all put out of the office during those crazy makers, and we had some good laughs. There's a quote by Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Sometimes the human side needs a little help, and to my doctors, Dr. DeMarsa, Major Roman, Dr. Sowen, Dr. Canvas, and Dr. Hockheimer, my favorite Sven, I am heartily grateful for you and thankful that God gave you those talents so that you can use your given talents to make me well in my human experience. To Colonel Carol Copeland, the last supervisor I'll ever have on active duty, you're simply the best. Better than all the rest. I couldn't have prayed for a better supervisor during this transition, and I thank you. To the families who have adopted me, the Watsons, the Vincents, they're the ones who blessed me with Sophie, the Ram Clams, the Walkers, aka the Huxtables, the Sullivans, the Shoemakers, and the sisters like Jessica Ford. I thank you so much for bringing me and treating me as your own. I've been single for a long time, and it's nice to have people who care for you as their own. God gave me you, and you're stuck with me. Finally, to my team, Airman Rivers, you're sharp as a tack, and I so appreciate you. I chose someone. It took me a long time to figure out who I wanted to be the airman to give me the flag to end my career. Because it was like me, that was me. I was an airman company. And I couldn't have picked a better one. So thank you. To Senior Airman Lamb, she stepped in at the last minute. And she was like, I got you, whatever you need, Senior Master Armor, whatever you need. But I'll never forget that time we were in the garage. You remember? So I have to tell a story because I couldn't make this stuff up. So my stomach was hurt one day, right? Really, y'all don't know. And I was in the garage, the parking garage at the hospital, and I hadn't seen her in a while. And she came up and she goes, sorry, no. She came up, hugged me, and I was like, stop. Don't come any closer. She's like, what? I said, I farted. And I don't want you to walk into it. She's like, I don't know anything. And it just kept going. That's my snackums right there. She's sharp as a tack. And I just think you are just the most adorable airman ever. That's Airman of the Year for the group right there. Senior Airman Amaya. He took the charge of training my flag detail, and I don't even know what to say about him. I see him and I see Chief on his arms. I really do. He teaches a course in the Gateway, and he was texting me while he's on leave right now, and he was texting me to make sure I had everything that I needed. To Sheriff Bowman, the consummate servant leader. Sheriff Bowman was my first sergeant when I first got here. And You know, it just warms my heart seeing these shirts, the brand new shirts coming in, and they're giving it their all. They are working so hard for the people. And I try to take them under my wing because I don't want them to get burnt out. Because again, that question, who cares for the shirts? Other shirts, right? You are amazing. And he's very soft-spoken. He talks softly and carries that big stick too. So keep your eye on him. Make sure he's taken care of because he is taking care of everybody. And I do mean everybody. Everybody. So I thank you. He's the one that got everything reframed for me. Without even asking, he just took care of everything. To Chaplain Hugh, my sister in Christ, I met Chaplain Hugh in Japan through Major Hill. And when you click, you just click. I love talking to you. Thank you for coming all the way from Montana to perform my invocation and celebrate this time with me. Like I said, God gave me you and you stuck with me. To Colonel Triplett, coming all the way from Airborne College in Maxwell. Colonel Triplett was my last commander as a first sergeant, and it was rough. When I first got there, the command chief called me and she said, "You have the worst squadron on the base."
That's part of me.
It truly was. It came a few months later. And she told me, "You better fix it." And so it was hard. We were in fixing mode, but we needed Colonel Triplett to come. We needed a strong leader, and that was Colonel Triplett. I remember when he did his entry survey, the climate assessment, and they said, "Fire the first sergeant." So people said, "Fire the first sergeant." And that commander's called, he said, "I am not firing the first sergeant." First of all, I am not firing the first sergeant. She's doing exactly what I told her to do. She's doing what I expect her to do. And that made me feel good, because when the commander has your back in front of everybody, I mean, it's unstoppable. You got to do right by him. I chose Colonel Triplett to retire me because he is an amazing person, not just a commander. He wanted to learn about the enlisted force. He wanted to soak it all in. He wanted to learn everything there was. The little brown book, I don't know if you remember when you came, you were like, "I want mine to look like yours." All tabbed up. And he read it. He really read our little brown book. And so I was devoted and loyal. There's nothing that could have stopped me. So I hope I did right by you, because you certainly did right by me. And to my yayas, the divine secrets of the Yaya sisterhood. We're a tight-knit group of women that praise each other's successes and lift each other up through the valleys, and we laugh along the way. Sergeant Arthur. We're both crybabies. She's the baby of the bunch. And I have seen you grow so much in the past year and a half. Your humility is inspiring, and your intelligence, it often stops me in my tracks because you think outside the box. You are very much not a status quo NCO, and I love it. I love seeing you. You're in bloom, sister, and I can't wait to see you as a chief one day. To Walker, that's my cold as ice sister. She cries for nothing. If you've ever seen Bruce Lee, you may be familiar with his quote, "Empty your mind, be formless, shapeless like water. Now put water in the cup, it becomes the cup. Put water in the bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in the teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow, it can creep, or it can crash. Be like water, my friend." But I say something else. I say, be like Walker. She is one to watch, and I watch her because if you to know me, to know I'm very transparent, I'm very genuine. How I feel is written all over me. But Walker, that thing is cool as ice. And I'm watching you and I'm still learning. I'm still learning. But we're almost there, sister. You are retiring right after me, and I can't wait to approach the ceremony. To Fran, my soul sister. She came in. Those who know me know I'm a little OCPD. I like things to be a certain way, and I'm particular. So I didn't have a projo because I didn't want to bother anybody. I don't like to ask for help. But I was drowning and crashing. I was. But Fran came and she said, you know what? She kept checking on me and I kept saying, I'm busy, I can't talk right now, can't talk right now. And she said, you know what? I'm gonna only take that so many times and I'm just gonna interject myself. Whether you like it or not, she said, I'm your friend and I am loyal. You tell me what you need. And I love you to death. Again, God gave me you and you stuck with me. To my best friend, Tundra. She couldn't be here today because she's doing her intensive. She's working on her doctorate degree. But she took the time to go ahead and record that. The watch for me for my flag folding ceremony. So she is here in spirit in more ways than one. I just love her to death. If you noticed, I didn't mention my beautiful baby boy, Alex, so you have to stay tuned for that one. You gotta watch the video. In closing, I recently came across a tech sergeant who confidently told me more than one time what her reputation is. And it never sat well with me, and I couldn't figure out why until I began writing this very long speech. How do we really know what our reputation is? Do we really know, or is it what we think it is? I have no idea what my reputation is. It's right after that preposition, Senior Master Sergeant Prater would say. I really don't. But I can only hope and pray that I've been a servant leader, courageous, truthful, caring, and discerning. I can only pray that I've treated those how I wanted to be treated and led with the grace I was given. I gave the Air Force and the people everything I had, even in times when I should have given it to my baby boy. And if there's one piece of advice that I will give people, the young ones that are here, is that there will always be much Air Force, but you will only have one family. So for that, it's time. And I will wear this Air Force retired hat.
Don't do it.
With pride, and know that I have done everything that I could. I've done my best. Thank you for listening to my Air Force story. Have a good day.
Thank you, Senior Master Sergeant Retired Mostacero. You all can have a seat. From all the men and women of the United States Air Force, we thank you for your commitment and your contributions to the Air Force and its mission. We are proud to have served with you and assure you will always be a valuable member of the Air Force family. We wish you, Alex, and Sophie success in your future endeavors. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the closing prayer by me.
Yes.
And remain standing for the departure of the official parade. Please bow. Our most heavenly and gracious Father, thank you for blessing us with Senior Master Sergeant Mostacero. She is a pure blessing to many of us. Thank you for her service to our great nation. Lord, please bless her steps as she ushers in this next phase of her life. Grant her favor as she pursues all that you have planned for her. Provide her, Lord, with all of her heart's desires, those known and unknown. Lord, bless her like only you can. And Lord, while I have you, continue to bless Alex and Sophie. Bless our nation and bless those who continue to serve our country. Now, Lord, watch over us as we leave this ceremony. Grant traveling mercies to Nia's friends and family as they travel back to their homes. I humbly ask for all these blessings. Amen.
Amen.
I don't want to pick up one of your snot rags. Is this yours?
It's naughty too.
Oh, Day ceremony. We invite everyone to join us in congratulating Senior Master Sergeant retired Mostacero for a job well done, good and faithful servant. Thank you for attending, and we wish you miracles and blessings.
If I told you my story, you would hear hope that wouldn't let go. And if I told you my story, you would hear love that never gave up. And if I told you my story, you would hear life, but it wasn't mine. If I should speak, then let it be of the grace that is greater than all my sin, of when justice was served and where mercy wins, of the kindness of Jesus that draws me in. Oh, to tell you my story is to tell of Him. If I told you my story, you would hear victory over the enemy. And if I told you my story, you would hear freedom that was won for me. And if I told you my story, you would hear life overcome the grave. If I should speak, then let it be of the grace that is greater than all my sin, of when justice was served and where mercy wins, of the kindness of Jesus that draws me in. Oh, to tell you my story is to tell of Him. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. For the grace that is greater than all my sin.
At this time, I'd like to present his mom for her retirement gift, commemorating 22.9 years of active duty Air Force service. Alex, please accept these certificates of appreciation from former President Barack Obama and distinguished leaders, and appreciation for the support and sacrifices you've made throughout your mom's career. With deepest appreciation, please accept these gifts as remembrance of your years as a member of the Air Force family. certificates is the military child of it. Throughout the years of your life, you have made sacrifices and you have served your country as much as I have done. In your loving way, you quietly shouldered the heavy burden that you were asked to carry. Most of the time, you could not understand why I was not there, but you quietly hid the tears, courageously put on a smile, and defiantly promised that you would support me. You were then, as now, one of the most important parts of my life, and it was your love that enabled you to assure me that I was doing what was important. I missed so many holidays and countless special occasions, while you were left at home to worry while I was on the missions. You had to say goodbye to friends when you moved throughout the years, and you had to change schools. Your resilience and self-confidence throughout those frequent moves gave you strength. I am proud of you, for it was your love and support that sustained me through those difficult times. There is no way in my mind that I could have been in the success of the military without having your support, your understanding, and most importantly, your unquestionable love. Thank you for being there for me. Always remember.